Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video I want to take you with me on an outdoor sketching trip. My husband and I are going to a Dutch village where I'll be doing a couple of live sketches in my sketchbook. I'm excited to share with you not only the drawing process but also the atmosphere of sketching outdoors, the way I look for subjects and the unique challenges of drawing on location. The village isn't far from where we live, but even such a short trip feels like a little adventure. It's so much fun and feels like more than just a drawing session. It's a quality time spent together. We will take a walk, I'll do some sketching, my husband will film me, and then we'll go for another walk and talk to each other. We left a bit later in the afternoon. It wasn't too late, but by the end of August, the days are already getting shorter, so the sun was low and the lights was beautiful. That pre-sunset glow. It's just so lovely to be driving somewhere in the weather like this, with the view like this. The picturesque village we went to is called Warmond. It's a small, very well kept place between Amsterdam and The Hague, and to me it feels incredibly Dutch. I really love it as a subject for sketching. I'm actually much more inspired to draw rural landscapes, even though I prefer living in the city. Choosing the first location was very easy this time. We've been here before, and the view to the windmill from the local park was already stuck in my mind, so I knew exactly what I was going to draw. Once we got there, all I had to figure out was how to place the view on the page, as there can be many options. I went with the classic method. I made a rectangle with my fingers, and by moving this improvised frame left and right, closer and further away, I found the exact composition I liked the most. This time around, I made very few conscious decisions while drawing. I rarely overthink things when sketching outdoors. My studio work is usually more deliberate. Drawing like this is a bit of a risky business. Sometimes you just get into flow, a pencil seems to move on their own, and the drawing comes out fresh and light. That's a stroke of luck. I'll be honest, it doesn't always go this way. Often I start to get nervous. I feel time slipping away, the light changing or fading, and I begin to rush. Filming the process, of course, adds to the pressure, and rushing is one of my worst enemies in drawing. That's when I make the most silly mistakes. This time I couldn't completely avoid that problem, but the Russian was at manageable level, so overall I was still happy with the trip and drawings. And it wasn't without little stories. At some point the wind kept blowing my sketchbook pages, which was both frustrating and funny. And then two women walking past stopped to look and said kind words about the drawings. That immediately lifted my spirits. I should also mention that the view of the windmill getting stuck in my head, that's not entirely a coincidence. Dutch windmills have completely captivated me. Before moving here, I knew nothing about them and never really thought about them, but now Uh, they've become one of my favorite subjects to draw. For one, I think their silhouettes are perfect for drawing. The combination of the large shapes of the buildings and the small details of the blades and beams almost always guarantees a great picture. Plus, I'm just fascinated by the engineering itself. It turns out windmills come in many shapes and sizes and serve different functions. I always thought that they they just ground grain into flour, but here in the Netherlands, it's much more complex. Windmills were a crucial part of the water management system that allows the Netherlands to exist in its current form. The majority of windmills were used to pump water in the right directions, and only a few were used to make flour. I draw windmills pretty often, and here's another one. A little bit of a rush pushed me, and I finished the first sketch very quickly. The sun hasn't set yet, although the transition to twilight was starting to be noticeable, but I was perfectly ready to do another drawing. In the middle of the park where we were, there was an old mansion, either from the 17th or 19th century, and I decided that drawing it would be also a great idea. That's one of the most interesting buildings around. I started thinking about how to place it on the page, and at first I thought about drawing the whole thing, but I was a little bit too close and it was a bit uncomfortable to take it all at once, and I didn't want to change my position because the sun was going down and I felt like there was not a minute to lose. To be honest, now I don't think 2 or 3 minutes would have made any difference, but as I said before, my rushing mode had already kicked in. In any case, the most interesting part of the building for me was the two cute little turrets, and I decided that's what was worth drawing. It was both more interesting and quicker. Of course, outdoor sketching and painting in the calm of your own studio feels like two completely different activities. They are both drawing, both creating a picture, a work of art, and I love doing both, but I feel like my brain and senses work in completely different ways. In the studio, there is more stability and I work more deliberately and often very slowly. In the studio, I might put two strokes of paint on a canvas, then step back and look at it for a couple of minutes to decide what I'll do next. In the studio, I'm in a controlled space where everything is set up to be as convenient for me as possible. Everything is within reach. The easel and desks are positioned correctly for the light, and any materials I might need are right there. I'm fully immersed in myself and my work. Almost nothing distracts me, and I have nearly infinite amount of time to think things through, make decisions, correct mistakes, or even start over. Well, to be fair, a lot can happen in the studio too, and not everything can be controlled. There are huge challenges as well, but outdoor sketching is a completely different story. It's all about the immediate moment. There are so many sensations, and something is always happening. The light is changing, it's hot or cold, insects are flying around, the wind is blowing, and people passing by and watching and often commenting. All of this gives you a sense of life. You're not isolated from the world, you're completely immersed in it. And that, of course, translates into the drawing. Of course, in some ways. it is much harder. Your attention gets scattered. It's easy to fall into that rush I've been complained about today. And it's just as easy to make some outright silly mistakes, but on the other hand, the chances of creating a truly fresh and vibrant drawing and having fun in the process is higher. Every sketch like this is a memory. These two sketches, for example, will always be a vivid reminder of a warm August evening when my husband and I, a huge thanks to him for filming, by the way. So, like, when my husband and I went for a walk and to shoot in Warmond, and it was a lovely, lovely evening. No matter what, these are drawings with a little story. Yes, outdoor sketching is demanding. You need to be able to manage your attention and be in the moment. It's a kind of active meditation, and like any meditation, it requires practice. But that feeling when everything aligns and you catch and ride the wave, truly feel the place and become completely immersed in the process, like you've become a part of that place. That's just unbeatable. Then everything that could have been a distraction starts to create a feeling of bubbling life instead. It's also very important to be able to take breaks and breathe when you're sketching outdoors because the atmosphere itself can push you to rush and make all your decision as quickly as possible without thinking. This can be fun, but it can also lead to disappointment. I think it's a great idea to set a timer for breaks from time to time, for instance, so you can surface from the process and take a moment to breathe and think if you are like not very good in meditation. I finished the second sketch very quickly too, and I'm still happy with the result. I managed not to let the Russian completely swallow me up, although I didn't achieve a perfect balance and immersed in the moment for this time. I still enjoyed the evening and I liked the drawings. I know some artists prefer to draw in the quiet of their workspace, while others prefer the liveliness of drawing outside. What are your thoughts on it? Thank you for sharing this evening and our little trip with me. If you enjoy stories about outdoor sketching, as well as studio art and conversation about why and how we draw, please subscribe and give this video a like. See you soon!